Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Weekend Wrap, a production of fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. I trust that you are well this weekend, and I hope that you are going to you are in the middle of a great weekend. Looking forward to a marvelous Monday, terrific Tuesday, wondrous Wednesday, thrilling Thursday, and fantastic Friday for next week. So we hope that you are doing well. Today, I wanted to talk about, a sort of a number of things. We'll talk a little bit about a change to the CDC website talking about COVID deaths as it refers to underlying conditions, because that's been the push. That's been the push. We have to be careful of people who have underlying conditions. Well, let's find out how careful we really have to be about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about Jacob Blake, George Floyd, and this whole idea. And this is going to be probably the length of this video, or a good portion of it, of people that we in the black community tend to defend and the people that we tend to ignore. Media builds up certain things and ignores others, because media wants us to see certain things, and it turns our attention to certain things, while other things are going on back here that have a real impact and real effect. But media wants us to see what's over here, so it directs all of our attention over here, and then puts blinders on. I consider social media blinders, because social media doesn't have to consider whatever else is going on, and tends to tell people that if you happen to look outside of that, then there's something wrong with you. We can talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about the NBA, NHL, MLB, NFL foolishness, and it's just rift with foolishness. All right, thanks again for coming by. We appreciate it. Again, if you are interested in what we do here, just go to fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. Check out what we do. Check out our partners. Check out our videos. Our partners like Paul Swanson of theswansonreport.net, Kevin and Janelle Batts of Red River TV, and 46 News. Of course, my boy Zoe Rachel and the Zoloft. So all available there on the website. And if for some reason you need a place that you know that you're not going to be censored, that you're not going to be throttled, that you're not going to be shadow banned, let a brother know. WLS860@gmail.com. Thank you so much. We'll be back right after this.
Do you care about Black lives? The people that run Baltimore don't. I can prove it. Walk with me. They don't want you to see this. I'm Kim Klacik. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This is the reality for Black people every single day. Crumbling infrastructure, abandoned homes, poverty, and crime. Baltimore has been run by the Democrat Party for 53 years. What is the result of their decades of leadership? Baltimore is one of the top 5 most dangerous cities in America. The murder rate in Baltimore is 10 times the U.S. average. The Baltimore poverty rate is over 20%. Homicide, drug, and alcohol deaths are skyrocketing in our city. Do you believe Black Lives Matter? I do. The vast majority of crime in Baltimore is perpetrated against Black people, who make up 60% of the population. So why don't we care about our communities? The Democrat Party have betrayed the Black people of Baltimore. If the politicians walked the streets like I do, they would see exactly how their policies and corruption affects us. But they don't want to see it. They don't want you to see this. Go to any Baltimore neighborhood and ask this question. Do you want to defund the police?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
I had 3 sons killed in Baltimore City. And I think if we defund the police office, it's going to be worse than that. So no, I'm opposed to that.
What are you going to defund the police for? Why? How do you defend your city, your community? Families are losing people.
It's not just Baltimore. The worst place for a black person to live in America is a Democrat-controlled city. It's 2020. Name a blue city where black people's lives have gotten better. Try. I'll wait. Look at this. How are children supposed to live here and play here? Democrats think black people are stupid. They think they can control us forever, that we won't demand better and that we'll keep voting for them forever, despite what they've done to our families and our communities. Are they right? I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about black lives. All black lives matter. Our communities matter. Baltimore matters. And black people don't have to vote Democrat.
All right, welcome back. We appreciate you being here. Listen, the RNC convention ended on Thursday night, right? Yeah, Thursday night. So I'd like to know what you thought. I thought that it was extremely well produced, especially under the conditions, under the circumstances. Apparently, Trump got some people from the Apprentice to come and work on production, because under these conditions where a lot of things are virtual and then you're piecing things together, production value is really important to keep people's interest. And I believe that was able to. I like the idea that Trump had this convention, the Trump's convention was a lot of just regular people coming up and telling their stories. There were some celebrities, obviously, people like Herschel Walker, and there were people who were in politics like Tim Scott and Vernon Jones and some others. But I really enjoyed the personal stories. I enjoyed the heartfelt stories of David Dorn's wife and one of the Parkland shooting victims' dads. And I thought that really told a story, because these things at this point, because it was a coronation, it wasn't a convention really. Just sort of like the Democrat thing too, it was a coronation, not a convention where there was going to be some tension as to who won. It was a coronation, and they had to make the case for Trump, for Republicans for sure, and I believe the RNC was able to make the case for Trump in their convention, and it was a lot about who they had speak, and it was a lot about who spoke in prime time and how it was put together. All those things, as much as we kind of hate it, are really important to people who are watching. What they can't do is bore people, and then people tune out and not hear the message. Melania's speech, fabulous. Trump's speech was just so Trump-like. I don't know how anybody would have expected anything else. He was Trump. And spoke to the Trumplicans, not necessarily to some Republicans, and we see that with. I thought it was interesting that Kellyanne Conway was able to address the convention, and actually at the end of this month, in just a couple of days, is leaving the White House and going back to her family. As you know, Kellyanne Conway's husband, is one of the founders of the Lincoln Project, are people who are supposedly Republican who are fighting against Donald Trump. Okay. We're not going to address that much here in this video today, but we are going to talk about that over the course of the next couple of weeks, because when we see this, it's really important to try to figure that out, because I don't think a lot of people understand why that's happening. Why people like the Bushes or Mitt Romney or some of the John McCain legacy people or anti-Trump, because we have to figure that out. People, because there is the inside circle, and there are the people, and there's everybody else. And some of these people have been on the inside circle for a long time, and right now they are not. especially the consultant class or the staff class, people who work on this campaign or that campaign, and then work as staffers, in this White House or that White House, and there's a whole subculture there that needs to be addressed. And because none of them are involved in this particular administration, they don't like it. They don't like it at all, at all. And what we find is that some of these people will work for anybody. They don't care. Republican, Democrat, progressive, liberal, progressive, conservative. They don't care. They just like being inside the power ball, the power structure. So, and right now they're on the outskirts. This is why you have things like the Lincoln Project, by the way. I didn't really want to spend a bunch of time on that, and I just spent 2 or 3 minutes, way more than I wanted to. But I think that the difference is that the DNC was a convention of doom and gloom and how terrible things are, and how terrible things are because of Trump, where the RNC was completely different. The RNC was full of hope and cheering America on. It was a pep rally. Yes, it was a flag waving, proud to be an American song singing, national anthem singing, God Bless America singing, rally for America, and that sort of positivity is resonating with a lot of people. Just saying, a lot of people, that sort of positivity, especially in the times of these uncertain times, people feel uncertain. They're looking for positivity. They're looking for somebody who's sure about the future, who's confident about the future. And the Republican National Convention made people feel like they're positive and confident about the future, people's future. So I think that if you had the grade, if you had the grade to 2, the DNC gets a 2 because they actually did it, and the RNC gets an 8. Everybody can do some things better. Everybody can do some things different. All right. I'm going to put this together, although they don't really go together. I want to talk about Jacob Blake, George Floyd, and some others. What bothers me most about this, and it's funny, Candace Owens mentioned this about George Floyd, and boy, oh boy, black people, just lost, and liberals and progressives just lost their damn mind. Just lost their damn mind. That George Floyd shouldn't be martyred. He wasn't worthy of martyrdom. He wasn't, he's not MLK. He's not Emmett Till. He's not, he's not Malcolm X. And he wasn't. He was a man. He was a man with a past and foibles and failures. Well, frankly, just like the rest of us. George Floyd had a past. Jacob Blake had a present that wasn't so good. And on the last video that we did, so you can check that out. I'll put that that video in the end screen so you can click on that. We talked a little bit about Jacob Blake and the problems that he was currently having and how that whole thing went down. Because that's important. But what concerns me, friends, is this: that some lives are being elevated while others are being ignored. I mentioned in the opening how media, they want you to see a certain thing, so they'll keep pushing you to look at a certain thing and hold your attention there with fire and riots and the like, while back here, outside your peripheral vision, there's really pain and heartache that they don't want you to see because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit their narrative. Like, everybody knows who Jacob Blake is, but nobody knows who DeVal Gardner Jr. is. Nobody knows who DeVal Gardner Jr. is. Nobody knows who Jared Evans is. Nobody knows who Zachy Starks is. Nobody knows who Marquise Scott is. Nobody knows who Gabriel Wallace is. Nobody. DeVal Gardner Jr. was shot in New York City. In the same city that de Blasio defunded and ended the their special crimes unit. DeVal was 1 year old, sitting in a stroller. Innocent. No past. No crime other than being born. No attachments other than being loved by his parents. Where's BLM? Where are people in the street with fists up for DeVal? Where's CNN morning to noon coverage about the death of this baby? You don't know his name. Of course you don't. Doesn't fit the narrative. Gerard Evans. Young man, 18 years old. Shot in St. Petersburg, Florida. No reason. Zachy Starks, 23-year-old. There's a fight. They're looking for the suspect. The suspect is black. They're looking for a black suspect. Actually, all the suspects in the DeVal, Jared, Zachy, Marquise, and Gabriel cases are all black. All the victims are also black. No one seemed to care. You know Breonna Taylor, right? Oh yeah, we're going to do a, maybe not next week, but we're going to do a special about all of that. So stay tuned. Keep an ear out. Keep an eye out for that. Because I've come across the police investigation materials that shows that maybe Breonna Taylor wasn't as innocent a bystander as she is being painted. Yeah. So it is problematical that, well, I believe that it's problematical that we are elevating people with criminal histories and who are criminals. Jacob Blake had an active warrant. An active warrant. Now, an active warrant doesn't make you guilty of anything. I understand that. But I wonder, just like you wonder, if Jacob Blake didn't want to go to jail, or didn't think that he should go to jail, would he have resisted? And then would he have ended up paralyzed? Because right now, as of, it is Saturday evening at 10, yeah, all the prescriptions run out of my glasses. You can see it's like, just a little bit of prescription there. At 10:25 on Saturday evening, he is no longer fighting for his life, but he is paralyzed from the waist down. And that's terrible. But you have to see, like I said before, and I mentioned this in the last video, when we're talking about Jacob Blake, media wants you to see a doting father of 6. My brain says, how in the hell you be 29 years old and have 6 kids in 2020? I understand, if it was, you know, if you lived on a farm and it was 1820 and you had to have, kids to work the farm, and you tried to pump out as many babies as you could to have farm hands. But it's 2020. Nobody's working on a farm. How do you have 6 kids and only a girlfriend? Yeah. Unfortunately, Mr. Blake has made a number of ill-fated decisions that led him to the place where he is now. Because all of us do. All of us are just an amalgamation of decisions, right and wrong, that we have made that have us in our current situations. If you don't have enough money to pay your bills, then you have to look back at some of the decisions that you've made. The people that you worked for, the jobs that you quit, the degree that you didn't get, on and on and on, myself included. So it's super important that we start having these discussions like adults. Stop elevating and putting people who are criminals, literally criminals. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory fashion. I'm just saying that because, as a descriptor, Jacob Blake is a criminal. And so was George Floyd. George Floyd, unfortunately, as we're finding out now, had taken a fatal dose of fentanyl. He was actively dying. And his cause of death will probably be changed to fentanyl overdose. Thanks, China. Why did I say that? Because most of the fentanyl that comes in the United States originates in China. Don't believe me? Look it up. Most of the fentanyl that ends up in the United States originates in China. Whether it's bought by Mexican drug cartels and then brought from Mexico in the United States, or shows up and where the U.S. ports. Thanks, China. Jerks. We're going to have to decide that we are going, if Black lives do matter, if all Black lives matter, then we're going to have to start looking at our own communities. How do we treat one another? How do we take care of one another? How do we take care of Black-owned businesses? How do we take care of our Black elderly? How do we support our Black children? If indeed Black lives matter. Not how we get nutty every time there's some criminal who has a bad outcome with a white police officer. That's not enough. That's not enough. You can weep for Jacob Blake, but you better have that same energy for DeVale Gardner Jr. and Jared Evans and Zachy Starks and Marquise Scott and Gabriel Wallace and countless others that we don't know their names in Chicago every damn weekend. Labor Day weekend is coming up. And yes, those numbers are down from where they have been, but they're still happening. The idea is that if you want to put us in a position, or put me in a position where I can't talk about Black on Black crime, then you must be endorsing it. That doesn't seem fair to you? Yeah, that's too bad. But if I can't talk about it, I am saying that it doesn't exist. That we're just going to call it proximity crimes. We're not going to actually talk about Black on Black crimes. Like the Black community has the economic or the social buffer to survive and do well under those adverse conditions, those so many self-inflicted wounds, the death by 1,000 cuts. We don't. So we got to talk about it. We got to point it out. We got to stop it. And black on black crime just doesn't mean murders. It means how many, you know what, did you break into somebody's black house and take their TV? Did you rob somebody at gunpoint? Did you steal their car? Did you burn down their business? Lots of ways to be attacked. Lots of ways to have your future throttled. And we got to talk about all of them. All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be back with more of the Weekend Wrap right after these messages.
This is your brother, Antone Tucker, better known as Tony X. The reason why you see people outside and upset is because they were led to be that way. The main goal of the liberal today is to make sure that the black feels disenfranchised because they're the ones doing it to you. And they also make sure that your white conservative brothers and sisters feel powerless to talk to you. Black history isn't in the school books. Who do you think started the educational system that is currently brainwashing our children? Jimmy Carter's administration. Why is it that when Obama was in office for 8 years, he didn't get prison reform done? See, I see people saying Trump's racist, but I see that prison reform was done. Over 90,000 black and brown brothers and sisters coming home from prison. I see opportunity zones up and running. Think about it. Black historical colleges, the most funding they've ever had in history, and it came from Donald Trump. For the politicians that think that it's okay to defund police officers, to make sure that the officers within these communities can't do their jobs, shame on you. And as a new leader, I'm going to tell all the leaders coming up, it's time for us to stand up and lead. Thank you for taking the time listening to me. God bless you.
Do you care about Black lives? The people that run Baltimore don't. I can prove it. Walk with me. They don't want you to see this. I'm Kim Klacik. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This is the reality for Black people every single day. Crumbling infrastructure, abandoned homes, poverty, and crime. Baltimore has been run by the Democrat Party for 53 years. What is the result of their decades of leadership? Baltimore is one of the top 5 most dangerous cities in America. The murder rate in Baltimore is 10 times the US average. The Baltimore poverty rate is over 20%. Homicide, drug, and alcohol deaths are skyrocketing in our city. Do you believe Black Lives Matter? I do. The vast majority of crime in Baltimore is perpetrated against Black people, who make up 60% of the population. So why don't we care about our communities? The Democrat Party have betrayed the Black people of Baltimore. If the politicians walked the streets like I do, they would see exactly how their policies and corruption affects us. But they don't want to see it. They don't want you to see this. Go to any Baltimore neighborhood and ask this question. Do you want to defund the police?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
I had 3 sons killed in Baltimore City. And I think if we defund the police office, it's going to be worse than that. So no, I'm opposed to that.
What are you going to defund the police for? Why? How do you defend your city, your community? Families are losing people.
It's not just Baltimore. The worst place for a Black person to live in America is a Democrat-controlled city. It's 2020. Name a blue city where Black people's lives have gotten better. Try. I'll wait. Look at this. How are children supposed to live here and play here? Democrats think Black people are stupid. They think they can control us forever, that we won't demand better and that we'll keep voting for them forever, despite what they've done to our families and our communities. Are they right? I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about Black lives. All Black lives matter. Our communities matter. Baltimore matters. And Black people don't have to vote Democrat.
Hey, y'all. Again, welcome back. My name is Will Austin, and this is the Weekend Wrap, a production of FightbackMedia.com. 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 Well, after the shooting of Jacob Blake and the riots in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Have you ever been to Kenosha, Wisconsin? Well, Kenosha, Wisconsin is about this big. Wait a minute, no. That big. It's literally a sleepy little hamlet on the river. Excuse me, on the lake. I think would make a great vacation spot for Floridians in the summertime who just can't take the heat anymore, but they want to still be on the water. So you get a boat and you go up and you're on the lake, which is as damn biggest Gulf of Mexico. It's like an ocean, with the top temperatures being in the upper 70s, lower 80s. Sounds idyllic for someone who hates the heat, who lives in Florida, but doesn't want snow. Will come back. So every reverse snowbirds. It's a quiet little place that is being destroyed over the shooting of Jacob Blake. And unlike, there was no reaction to the people I mentioned in the last segment: Devell Gardner Jr., Gerard Evans, Zachy Starks, Marquis Scott, Gabriel Wallace, and countless others this weekend in places like Chicago. The NBA, the most woke of the professional sports networks, leagues, the MLB, and even the NHL this time, which this was a surprising development for me, decided that they would at least postpone their playoffs so we could have a conversation about racial justice. Really? The NBA even voted to suspend their season, end their season, not do the playoffs, stop playing. You know what's sort of sad and pitiful is that some of these people believe that anybody gives a crap. I mean, seriously, the amount of the over amount of self-importance and the total lack of self-awareness is stunning. Abso-freaking-lutely stunning. That somehow there will be this national outcry so the NBA keeps playing. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a crap. The NHL has a few black players who have been able to speak out here in the last, this summer. They've been able to speak out a little bit. And I'm going to tell you, the NHL is almost niche. It's almost a niche kind of thing. Yes, multi-million-dollar endeavor, but really niche, especially in the United States, especially in most of the United States. Other than Dallas, hockey's not really big in Texas. Hockey is not big in Alabama or Mississippi or Kentucky or Utah. Maybe more in Utah because you can actually get some cold. Arizona, not so much. So this idea that they're going to virtue signal and say that this means a lot, and the NHL should make a statement. Absolutely foolishness. MLB deciding that they would not play. What? To celebrate or to memorialize Jacob Blake? We learned, unfortunately, who Jacob Blake was. Or actually is. He's still alive. But we didn't take a step. We didn't take a breath. We didn't take a moment of silence for Neville Gardner or Jared Evans, Zachy Starks, and countless others that lost their lives on Chicago streets tonight. Really? Now, what hasn't happened yet is that the NFL hasn't had their chance to enter into this more moronic foolishness either. It's just plans. And I said it that way, moronic foolishness. Absolutely moronic foolishness. Because for me, I try to stay pretty consistent. It's tough sometimes, but I try to stay pretty consistent. If you don't care, I mean, how do you care about Jacob Blake or George Floyd and not care about Zachy Starks or the 1-year-old Neville Gardner Jr.? How do you not care about them? How do you not have the same energy for a 1-year-old child? An innocent, murdered on the streets of America. You only have energy if a person who's a criminal or has a criminal or a criminal past ends up in a confrontation with a white police officer. That is how you're defining your racial justice, through that very narrow tube of things that hardly ever happen, really? Why does it seem like it always happens? Because, what did I say before? Because media pushes your head and makes you look at it. And now there's a fire there, and then there's a burning car. Now a furniture store is on fire, and you're looking even more. While a 1-year-old boy in his stroller gets shot, and you don't know his name, you don't even know what happened, because media has got you looking over here. And the NBA and NHL and the MLB, please, baseball, get a grip, and the NFL are talking about police brutality, throwing up their socialist fist. Really? Freaking ridiculousness. All right, we got to get out of here. Thank you ever so much for coming to the Weekend Wrap. My name is Willie Lawson. The Weekend Wrap is a production of fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. Check us out on the website. Again, all my friends are there. Paul Swanson of the SwansonReport.net. You can click the link, go to his site. It's rocking. He's getting it. And of course, Kevin and Janelle Batts of 46 News and Red River TV, and of course, my boy Alfonso Rachel and the Zoloff. Please scroll down the first page and check us out. Give me your email address and your name so I can stay in touch with you. I'm not going to ask you for any money. I'm just going to ask you to stay in touch with us, as we have less than 70 days into the election. So it's really, really important that we stay connected. And we've got some things planned for around those times, especially when early voting starts around the country. So you want to stay connected. All right. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody. And for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.
This is your brother, Antone Tucker, better known as Tony X. The reason why you see people outside and upset is because they were led to be that way. The main goal of the liberal today is to make sure that the black feels disenfranchised because they're the ones doing it to you. And they also make sure that your white conservative brothers and sisters feel powerless to talk to you. Black history isn't in the school books. Who do you think started the educational system that is currently brainwashing our children? Jimmy Carter's administration. Why is it that when Obama was in office for 8 years, he didn't get prison reform done? See, I see people saying Trump's racist, but I see that prison reform was done. Over 90,000 black and brown brothers and sisters coming home from prison. I see opportunity zones up and running. Think about it. Black historical colleges, the most funding they've ever had in history, and it came from Donald Trump. For the politicians that think that it's okay to defund police officers, to make sure that the officers within these communities can't do their jobs, shame on you. And as a new leader, I'm going to tell all the leaders coming up, it's time for us to stand up and lead. Thank you for taking your time listening to me. God bless you.
Hey y'all, listen, I wanted to again make it really obvious that we've got to stay in touch. If you are looking for us on Twitter, you can look for Fightback Media at Fightback Media, or at RBM Show, at Fightback Media, or at RBM Show. On Twitter, you can catch us on the gram at Fightback Media. Please follow us. And on Facebook, if you look for the Morning Report, it's a great way to keep up with us. Thank you ever so much. And our email is fightbackmedia@gmail.com, fightbackmedia@gmail.com, or you can send me an email directly at WLS860@gmail.com. That's WLS860@gmail.com. Again, it is super important that we stay connected because we've got some things planned for in and around the election when early voting starts. Because we're going to have to really watch this election in every city, state, and county, because it's going to be really important that this election be counted fairly, open, and honestly. Because there's going to be some chicanery. And what I don't want is counter chicanery. It's not good if there are well-meaning Trump supporters who will participate in some chicanery in the election to offset the Democrat chicanery. We can't have any of that at all. So stay with us, because we want to get you involved in the election counting process. We have some things planned, and we need your email address, and we need your name, and we need to get you plugged in to with certain folks. So do that for us. Again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and we'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.